By the light of day, lakes, rivers, and oceans are peaceful, serene places we have all come to know and take comfort in. Whether basking in the beautiful views, bathing in the relaxing waters, or walking along the whimsical shorelines, our many waterways can provide a vision of tranquility. But as the sun sets, the darkness casts a bewitching spell of uncertainty and fear. Red River is full of natural beauty. Whether you want to canoe or just float down the river, it does make for a relaxing day trip. But don't linger after dark. You might just come across the witch who is said to inhabit a cave along its shores. In the early 1800s, John Bell and his family moved to Adams, Tennessee from North Carolina, where they prospered and John became one of the leading citizens of the area. Things were going good for the Bell family until about 1817, when John reported seeing a strange black animal in his cornfield. Soon after, strange things began to happen to the Bell family. Unexplainable knocking sounds began to be heard throughout their home. Soon, a taunting, disembodied voice began talking to the family. Furniture started moving and crashing, and bed covers were stripped off the beds. It seemed the main targets were John Bell and his daughter Betsy, who often reported feeling pins like being stuck into her flesh. Witnesses also watched in horror as Betsy's head jerked in response to an unseen slap and red welts appeared on her face. As tales of the witch and strange occurrences at the Bell farm spread, General Andrew Jackson came himself to investigate. When Jackson approached the farm, the wheels on his wagon locked up on dry, level ground, and no one could get it to move. Suddenly, there was a sharp, mocking laugh and a voice saying, "All right, General, let the wagon move on. I will see you tonight." That night, it seemed the witch was in rare form, slapping and pinching poor Betsy, pulling the covers off Jackson's men, and tearing down their tents. When Jackson returned to Nashville, he said, "By the Eternal, I saw nothing, but I heard enough to convince me that I would rather fight the British than deal with the torment they call the Bell Witch." According to legends, the Bell Witch was a neighbor named Kate Batts, who hated John Bell and even swore to kill him. She was described by another neighbor as pretty as sin, kindly as the devil. In 1820, John Bell became seriously ill. On December 20th of 1820, a mysterious, half-empty vial was found beside his bed. No one knew anything about the contents, so they were tested on a cat, who quickly went into convulsions and died. John soon followed. Since then, legends have continued that the Bell Witch still haunts the area, tormenting people. More recently, these incidences have been in a cave along the Red River on the original Bell estate. Pictures taken at the cave have turned out either blank or have something in them that is not really there. People visiting the cave have also reported seeing the witch's spirit known as Kate. They describe her as a beautiful young woman with long black hair. Others have reported being touched, pinched, slapped, and even hugged by something unseen in the cave. Blackwater River in sunny Florida is a favorite recreational spot for many to camp, kayak, and canoe. But beware of two mysterious and sinister residents in the mist. According to local legends, a woman with long black hair, smelling of rotting flesh, will drag you under the water to your death. But the smelly woman is not the only thing lurking in the river. Somewhere in the Blackwater River State Park is the oldest white Atlantic cedar tree where there was rumored to have been several sacrificial rituals. People have reported seeing a woman in a long white gown covered in blood. Whatever you do if you see her, don't look her in the eye, for if you do, she will place you in a trance and you will follow her to your death. Other people who have visited the tree report unexplainable cold spots and the feeling of being suffocated. Braley Pond is a picturesque body of water in George Washington National Forest that offers hiking trails, campgrounds, picnic areas, and the pond that is stocked full of trout. But this tranquil setting in the seclusion of the National Forest holds a dark secret. In May 2003, members of the Crips gang lured 19-year-old Christopher Kenny to Braley Pond and killed him because he was trying to leave the gang. They feared he would inform the police of their activities. Even before this horrific murder, Braley Pond had a reputation for being haunted. Some even consider it the most haunted place in Virginia. Beside the pond is a creek that runs through the woods, where people have claimed to see the apparition levitating above it. The spirit is also said to be seen hovering above the pond as well as under the water. People have also reported hearing disembodied children's laughter, muffled voices, horse hooves on the road near the pond, and unexplainable splashing sounds from the water. Greenish orbs are also said to float up above the pond and move in an erratic manner, then disappear into the darkness. Some have also reported experiencing disorientation, sudden nausea, and a sudden feeling of dread or paranoia. Hailspar Dam in Gill, Tennessee began construction in 1905, and because of problems wouldn't be completed until 1913. Even before construction began, the land was said to be cursed. Hailspar Dam was built on was once Cherokee territory, but following the signing of the Treaty of Sycamore Shoals on March 17, 1775, Chief Dragging Canoe was said to have cursed the land, vowing that it was dark and bloody land and would be unproductive and uninhabitable for anyone that attempted to settle here. The natives also believed that the water here was sacred. In addition to the curse, the area also held two cemeteries that was desecrated and never relocated before construction. Soon after construction began, tensions and tragedies began. In 1906, a worker was shot and killed by an unknown gunman. Another fell from a rock crusher, and a boiler explosion with fatalities occurred. As time and construction continued, so did the tragic deaths. Racial tensions also built when two African Americans were killed by two white men who got away with the murders. In 1907, the project engineer died from an ear infection, and in 1911, the body of one of the landowners was found run over along the railroad tracks leading to the dam. There was also another murder around 1912. During construction, 3 workers also fell into the concrete that was being poured, where they were left, buried forever in the dam. As the body count piled up, so did the rumors that the land was not only cursed, but haunted as well. The dam was finally completed in 1913, but problems continued. Hailspar Dam continued to have severe leakage problems, and raggings were formed where workers went around and tried to stop the leaks by placing rags, napkins, and hay bales into the many holes. There's also a tunnel that was built underneath the dam. It was built for children to use to walk to school. It is also where at least 2 children are said to have lost their lives because of the leakage and flooding problems. Despite spending more than 50 years trying to fix the leakage problems, Hailspar Dam is slowly sinking into the Tennessee River. With the combination of the many tragedies, moving water, limestone, and the curse, it's no surprise there are rumors that the land and the dam are haunted. Since construction began, people blame the many tragedies on the curse of Dragging Canoe. It is also believed the souls of the murdered workers, accidents, and children, and those who were buried in the desecrated cemeteries continue to haunt Hailspar Dam today. Reports include disembodied voices, unexplainable banging and shuffling sounds, cold spots, shirts and hair being pulled, as well as shadow figures. Most swamps offer a combination of beauty and terrifying, and the Manchac Swamp in Louisiana is no different. Not far from New Orleans, the Manchac Swamp offers spectacular views and pleasant kayak tours. The swamp is also home to many animals, including alligators, turtles, and migratory birds. It is a place where you can come and relax and enjoy nature, but you take the chance of being trapped with the other lost souls. According to legends, voodoo queen Julia Brown lived in the Manchac Swamp and was said to sit on her porch and sing, "One day I'm going to die and take the whole town with me." She wasn't liked very much, but that didn't stop the locals from visiting her for her voodoo potions and spells. Sometime around 1915, Julia was walking through town singing her song, and people were horrified at hearing it. According to legends, she was taken prisoner on charge of witchcraft and executed. Just before her death, she cursed all of the people present as well as the entire Manchac Swamp. The day they were to bury her, a massive hurricane swept through the swamp, killing over 50 people and devastating the town. The people that did survive believed Julia had caused the storm, and that although she was dead, her spirit would cause more death and damage. And to try and stop this, they dug a mass grave in the murky waters and buried all of the dead from the storm, as well as Julia. Local lore says that the Manchac Swamp is still haunted by those who died that day in 1915, including Julia Brown. It is said that her spirit is ready to kill anyone who goes in search of the mass grave. It is also said that there is a chilling sound that travels through the swamp that reminds people of the song she sang just before her death. South Carolina is considered to be one of the most haunted states in America. With that in mind, it should come as no surprise that Pawleys Island is full of ghost stories and legends. One of the more prominent stories told of Pawleys Island is of the Gray Man. Some of the versions say that he was a young man who was thrown from his horse and drowned in the surf on his way to visit his fiancée. Other versions say he got trapped in quicksand as he rode his horse through the marsh. Then you have those that believe the man is none other than Blackbeard himself, Edward Teach. Regardless of his identity, legends say that after his death, the Gray Man saved the woman he loved and her family by warning them of a coming storm. Since then, it is said that he appears to warn locals of impending hurricanes. People who have seen the Gray Man describe him as a mysterious figure dressed in all gray, wandering the beach at night just before a major storm or hurricane. The French Broad River was formed over 3 million years ago and is one of the oldest rivers in the world. Flowing through Asheville, North Carolina, it features great hiking, biking, and paddling opportunities, if you can avoid the siren that lurks in the depths. The Cherokee legends tell of a dark-haired woman who enchants young men to follow her to the upper reaches of the river that is full of rapids and whirlpools. She appears to them in the nude by the water's edge. When they reach for her, her warm skin suddenly turns cold and scaly, and her beautiful face becomes a grinning skull of death. A loud, devilish laugh rings through the forest as she yanks her victim underwater, never to be seen again. Reports of various ghost ships and phantom vessels disappearing into the fog are common along the coast as well as other bodies of water. Sailors and beachcombers alike have claimed to witness this phenomenon throughout history. Perhaps the most famous in Alabama is along the Tombigbee River is the story of the Eliza Battle. On February 28, 1858, the paddle steamer Eliza Battle left Columbus headed for Mobile with 45 crew members, 60 passengers, and 1,400 bales of cotton. Upon her departure, it was raining and the Tombigbee River was flooded. As the steamer headed south, the temperatures dropped 40 degrees in about 2 hours, and the rain turned to sleet and ice. Suddenly, an alarm sounded on the steamer, and passengers and crew found the stern on fire and the bow covered with ice, leaving the only two choices to either freeze to death or burn alive. Suddenly, the flooded water drifted the burning steamer into the flooded forest, and some of the people were able to escape into the trees. The final death toll was 15 passengers and 14 crew. Reports still continue to this day that on cold winter nights, a fog bank will drift down the Tombigbee River. In the fog, the burning Eliza Battle steamer can be seen, and the sounds of the crew and passengers screaming for help can be heard. The Tar River crosses much of the northeast part of North Carolina as it meanders its way through fields and small towns on its way to Pamlico Sound. It was once a major shipping route for the tar laden barges, and known today for its large catfish and kayak fishing. The Tar River also has a dark reputation as the home of the ravenous Banshee. During the Revolutionary War, British soldiers captured an Irish patriot. It is said that they shot the patriot on the banks of the river, then forced him into the water near the port village of Old Sparta. As the water turned red with his blood, he took his last breath. The patriot swore revenge on the 3 soldiers, and each one would be visited by a banshee that would foretell their deaths. Soon after the patriot's death, all 3 soldiers were visited by a female apparition. It was said the sorrowful wailing of the banshee told them that they would die in battle within a fortnight. Not long after that frightful visit, the soldiers were shot and killed in a skirmish with the North Carolina militiamen near New Bern. According to legends, after the death of the soldiers, the banshee did not rest, and to this day, whoever happens to wade into the water where the patriot died will be visited by the banshee, who will wail her sorrowful moan into the night and foretell your death.